Why, hello everyone! Welcome back. It is Saturday night. I decided that we were ready, and therefore I didn't need the extra 3 minutes. Haha. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome to the channel. Tonight it is time for some more D&D, high-level D&D with as we introduce our next character in a Song of Agapia's Fortune. And we bring back one of my very dear friends. Hello, Pope. How you doing? How you feeling?
I am doing quite well, thank you. Hey everybody, Pope here, Pope World Balance, where Pope World Balance, which I lurk in all your streams, and I am super excited to be here today playing Bandabrus the Grey and getting to see what he's been up to. And yes, the hat gives some points away. I am a wizard.
Yes, a wizard. Wizard is a complicated thing to be in this world, isn't it?
There are very competing views on the nature of wizardry and who should or should not possess it.
Yes, well, there's some genetic limitations to begin with.
Uh,
Not that it's interesting that genetic implications about the fact that wizardry being the only school of arcane magic that is genetically limiting. Um,
have gone into that. That seems something that smart people should do.
yes, smart people. Are you not smart, sir? Oop, oop. Did we lose Pope?
I I have a lot of no, I'm still here for now. Weather is being temperamental.
Oh, yes, the weather. We curse it. Aren't you a wizard? You can
Yes.
fix that, can't you?
Controlled weather takes a good bit of time and is a high level spell, and if I need to be someplace, I can't control it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Hmm, intriguing. But yes, we were talking about how you have a certain level of
My, my
intelligence.
my intellect may be smart, but most of my skills is very hard earned wisdom. And the application of the ability to say no.
Saying no is an important thing to be able to say. Um, and therefore it is an important conversation. But one might ask, sir, how did you. Well, where do we find Bandabrus at this particular time in the early morning of a late summer day?
Um, if it is morning, um, Bandabrus is in his tower just outside of Europe proper. Uh, it's on a cliff overlooking the coast, and he is just finished casting Unseen Servant to begin preparing breakfast.
Of course. Why would one prepare one's own breakfast?
I have other things that must get done.
Hmm?
Plus, after breakfast, they can clean the plates and sweep the floors.
Hmm. Very interesting. What other business does one have to get done if you're having your unseen servant make you breakfast, clean your house, all of those good things?
Well, I have to see if any missives were dropped off in the night. I need to prepare to see if my erstwhile apprentice decides to show up today. Um, and I guess head into town because we're low on cheese.
And cheese is vitally important.
Yes.
Um, we'll get this right. Um, but what does Bandabrus look like?
Um, he is a man who looks like he has lived a very hard life. Very deep set wrinkles in his face. Despite being under 50, there are dark circles around his eyes. His beard has grown out because the elves don't cut their hair, so I figured I would try and go along with them, except for the top of the head, because that's a mess. Um, but the face grows well enough. And yeah, dark hair, but gray in many, many places, including a streak that goes from the middle of the right eyebrow through the mustache and through the beard.
Distinguished gentleman, say.
Distinguished in a fashion as one has done an unfortunate amount of things in their life and hasn't necessarily taken the best care of himself.
What does the tower look like? This home
Uh,
that you've built in the city away from your.
the tower is distinct as it looks to be cobbled together from stones from the Novigrad Varun border. So it is a very dark slate granite that is plied upon what I believe are the shinier cliffs of Uraba. So it is this large gray thing that just sits there. This this tower of gloom over what is normally a sort of bright and verdant place.
Very verdant. Lots of trees interwoven. Um, and a lot of architecture that works with the environment around it. Not the full level of the uh, halflings, the Godella halflings of Novigrad, which are just living trees at this point, and homes that way, but very distinctive interwoven architecture that where the two interact. There's also a lot of mismatch architecture that seems to still be flow into each other. You can definitely see as you walk through the city the differing colors and textures of the city, the mix of people that have made it, each trying to recreate something a little bit that was left behind, but have evolved into something new and something here. Uraba is one of the few cities on the continent that is truly embraces magic on an extreme level, almost more so than Vasava does. Well, Vasava still has fewer wizards.
For probably a very good reason.
Mm-hmm. Education is expensive. Um, but yes, the streetlights that are all tied to a working board structure that goes on automatically. Wards that shimmer and levitation spells that are the norm. Why carry something up 3 flights of stairs if you can just, you know, levitate? Of course, there are some unique individuals like your young apprentice. Young being a relative term for a full-blooded elf. He's almost twice your age, if we were talking chronologically.
He is over twice my age. It is point out to be on the regular.
Yes, this is true. But he is not an adult, by any means.
Oh, frustratingly so.
He and a few of his friends um, have decided that the surf is quite nice this morning,
Oh dear.
and the shore just down from your tower makes a wonderful point to, I believe the phrase was parasailing. And then to surfing. You know, just jump off the cliff, glide, and let feather fall, and then hit correctly to just surf back onto the waves into the. Having quite a bit of fun. A little loud. You can now hear it through the walls. of your stone tower.
There are far less hazardous hobbies one could participate, especially at this hour.
But the surf is really good.
As Bandabrus is looking displeased through a window, eating his oatmeal.
What kind of oatmeal does Bandabrus have?
Um, rolled oats with chunks of apples, a little bit of cinnamon, um, some beet sugar, and the last bit of raisins in the tower.
Interesting mix. Um, you do, however, get a message, Bandabrus. Sending.
Written or oh. Yeah, I see someone's up.
Master Bandabrus, we would appreciate your attendance at the next moment availability of yourself and your student to discuss the new approaches to interdisciplinary learning. ... Could you please get him out of the water? ... No, really. He's going to burn something up, and I don't want him to catch those books on fire. No, they don't. Waterproof.
Right. And goes to the window, uses prestidigitation to project his voice. Yora! It's time to come in. We're being summoned.
There's this palpative, like, sigh of this group of, like, 7 or 8 teenage elves. We're like, fine. You would have recognized the voice, by the way, as the archivist.
Ah.
Not Araziel, she's the archivist at the Lagunak Monastery. No, instead it is the archivist of the main library in the central of the towers, open to any and all members of the city who wish to embrace any and all forms of education. And I have the finding her name right now. Oh yes. That is Zabel. We'll put Zabel in a document so that you can see them. They are a not a caster, but they are a well-respected person, academic. She is not considered to be, interestingly enough, one of the few elves who are not casters who hold such significant rank in the city.
We will try our best not to keep her waiting.
Yes, she possibly the reason she is considered one of the most successful is that she is the personal student of the original librarian of Yoraba.
Ah.
The one who brought what remains of the library of the Constellation. Not The thing not working. There we go. There the thing. Yes. Her father was the original librarian of the Constellation who managed to save the majority of the books from the continent of Arabia.
Yeah, we'll definitely try not to keep her waiting.
Yes. Interesting point. You did receive that as a sending, but she doesn't cast.
I am certain that there are scrolls that exist, and someone has learned that she knows how to activate.
It's a possibility.
And in response to the sending, retrieving him now, finishing breakfast, will be by soon on horse.
It's another 10 minutes before Yura makes his appearance. Yura is a full-blooded elf, tall, bright red hair, it's almost blood red, distinctive blue eyes, a little, well, one might say punk rock goth.
Sorry to cut your fun short, but we have been summoned by Zabel herself, so let's not keep her waiting.
You just see this look go across his face, like that very public teenager going back through their mind of like, what did I do? What did she catch me doing that I'm in trouble for? Not what did I do, but what did I get caught for? How much trouble am I in?
Anyway, just make sure your materials are together and gestures and Phantom Steed is cast. Come on then. Let's head into town.
Yoruba is a sight. How long has Bandabrus been here?
Close to 5 years now.
So a number of people know you, smile and greet you on the street. There's a couple food vendors that wave in your direction.
Politely wave back, but considering tone of voice and the earliness of which that missive was sent, we are not galloping towards the library, but we are at pace.
The city itself is a number of concentric rings with interwoven streets that divide the spokes of the wheel. The main government buildings and the archive are located in the central most ring portion of the city. From your tower overlooking the sea takes 20 minutes if you're going at pace across into the half of the town. If you don't stop or if there's no traffic, basically. There very rarely is traffic in this city.
Yeah, we're not stopping. One, I don't want him to get any ideas and get into further trouble. Two, I always try to be prompt. It's not necessarily always appreciated in Uraba, my level of promptness, but I try. Their idea of times still something I have yet to wrap my head around.
Yes, a species that is truly immortal, that cannot die without an intercession of violent death.
and yet their youth do so much violence to themselves. One is surprised often that the species even exists.
Could you roll me a perception check? Because I don't have your. Yes, but you need perception anyways.
So, 26.
Oh, yes. The city is busier than usual for this time of day. And not in a slightly more people are on the street. More people are headed into the central district. More a vibe in the air.
As we get closer, Bandabrus just turns back to Yora. Is there a festival I'm not aware of, or political rally, or something going on?
Not a festival. Um, Perhaps a vote was called.
Hmm.
I don't know. I went surfing.
You know, there are less hazardous forms of entertainment.
Surfing isn't hazardous.
Between the well-intentioned but poorly timed dolphins and the less well-intentioned, more curious and chaotic, hungry sharks, I beg to differ.
Sharks are nice. As it was, it wasn't a big problem.
I go out of my way to not tempt fate.
Fate isn't tempting. It's surfing isn't tempting fate. It's just surfing, embracing nature and all of its wonderful gifts.
Yes, being knocked off of a board at speed and having my neck dragged along the lower parts of the surf do not sound like a great time.
Have you never been surfing?
I have never been a lot of things.
I shall tell Nyara. Sister Nyara taught me how to surf, so she'll teach you.
Why am I not surprised?
It's fun. It's also very good for getting. It's an important life skill. Like
I am
swimming.
certain she told you that. I know how to swim. Don't need to know how to surf.
Apparently, surfing an avalanche is a lot of fun. I should consider it.
No. If you were a student of the temple, then maybe, but you decided in your infinite wisdom to be my student. And as such, no.
All right.
Will you gain a grasp of the higher mysteries of being able to maintain one's breath in the face of said avalanche, or, some of the transmutation that you are more gifted at and being able to summon a wall, then we can talk about avalanches.
I mean, isn't there a ward you could place? And I think that abjuration really would be much better in this case.
Protection from energy does so little against the bludgeoning damage of an avalanche. and it is going to be a few centuries for you before you learn the possibility of invulnerability.
Have you learned it yet?
No, I also try to make certain that the spells that I am casting do not cost a kingdom's rent.
Oh yes, you'll worry about the coin cost. I remember.
Expensive material components are just that, expensive. It makes them rare, and it makes one more prone to be pilfered.
Have you been robbed on the street?
No, but I have been witness to many of my fellows being robbed. Again, I was a cheapskate to begin with.
I wasn't going to comment, but the oatmeal every day.
Saves on money.
Doesn't it get boring?
I find that just having you in my life is exciting enough.
I think that is the moment when you both reach the archive. Zabelle is standing outside. Head archivist Zabelle is standing outside. Her hair wrapped in a tan headscarf. Her darker skin tone offset by the black of the robes she's wearing that are kind of intricately but somehow still subtly embroidered. Um, she stands relatively short for an elf, only 5'2", but her presence just kind of exudes out of her as she stands there, back fully straight, perfect posture, hands politely folded in front of her. This slight, not even resting bitch face, just resting service worker face.
Dismount and then dismiss. Pleasure, my lady. And Yura, at your
Master,
service.
Master Bandabrus, I appreciate your assistance with this problem. When she kind of like turns, not even turns all of her, but just like the subtle shift in her attention to Yura. And Yura is like, I'm gonna slide slightly behind Bandabrus. Um, does that work well for Yura as he stands as 6'2"?
Bandabrus is 5'9",
Yeah.
and again, has not taken care of himself. He may have the broad shoulders of someone who lives on the border of Novigrad, but aside from skeletal structure, there is not enough to block Kyora's youthful and fit frame.
Yes. Very, runner athlete, not football player, but yeah, there's very little. He stands above you, and she just kind of does that slight eyebrow raise. Yura, I believe you have some materials of mine that you need to return.
I see. What would be those materials that you need to return to the archive, Yura?
If you could, I can't recall it. And he just starts stuttering as like and Isabella's I believe there are two works currently about one, the line of inheritance, a dissertation on the line of inheritance of the royal family of Cortel, and the current masterwork from, well, Master. I have the note. I have my notes. From Master Ezker on abjuration wards.
Mm. I'm certain you have a receipt for those that you can give Yora to remind him when he returns home to retrieve them.
Indeed. And she just kind of gestures, and a small child, you're not sure if they're full elf or half elf, just kind of comes running out. They're dressed in like uniform ish clothing, just a basic tunic and leggings. It's kind of undyed. And they hand a pile of like a piece of parchment to Yura, and then kind of cock their head and go shakes it, and then runs off to as they run by the archivist. She just kind of pats them on the head, and they smile up at her, and they run back into the archive.
Well, if there is nothing else that you need with Yura for, I think he should be promptly saying hello to his mother and father and retrieving those books for you.
No, I do not need anything else from him. Thank you very much, Master
Uh,
Bandabrus.
but certainly,
Bandabrus.
uh, Yura, I would suggest running on home and retrieving those. Give my best to your parents.
He kind of like leaves subtly. Just like there's a moment of like he looks at you, then looks at the thing, and looks at you, and then it's like okay, he leaves.
Well, aside from a slight chiding of my apprentice, is there anything else that you need from me, good lady?
And although we do have a new translation of one of the the works of Voral the Protector, if you wished to.
Tempting. Tempting. Might as well just like peruse and see if suspicions are correct.
What suspicions?
Well, I have a feeling that there may have been some embellishment in the tale.
Oh, what embellishment are you afraid that Voral the Protector, the current head of the Durakan Oryx, is embellishing upon? Why would you think a orc bard would embellish anything?
I have my sources as to his physical and wooing prowess, and as such, I think there may be certain excerpts from his latest prose that may be a bit more fanciful than factual.
Hmm. Hmm. Really?
Yes.
Who's your source, just so I know?
Well, I have two very particular individuals who get around, and they love to tell me things. And that is Darius and the good sister.
Yes, that's true.
Um, Darius is less likely to begrudge a bard his musings, but the good sister is always quick to point out falsity. And that's not even if Cather decides to, chime in.
Yes. Well, there is a full text that Zabel will very kindly hand you.
Mm.
It is a translation in both Elvish and Common. It is it's a very nicely bound red leather with a red white engraving. The left side has the Elvish on the page. The left side has the Elvish, and on the right side has the Common translation.
Just like opens it up, like goes to like the front, like a section where like there's thanks to these individuals.
Mm-hmm. The dedication.
I look to the dedication and see which one. Who is he calling out this time?
Oh,
Uh,
it's dedicated to his lovely wife.
hmm,
Yes, his lovely, lovely wife, Amar Pajor.
this is a makeup story. Ah,
Well, that's a belief, I guess, one could have.
if it is dedicated only to his wife, he has done something wrong. Uh, and this is, I am certain that there is, the tale in here is very flattering to certain individuals. Um, and it begins flipping through just very quickly, cursory, like,
Have you ever read the poems of Omar Khayyam?
cannot say that I have.
Um, you're missing out. Um, a very interesting individual. It is, but have you read the Song of Songs or the Song of
Yes, that
Solomon?
I have.
Um, these are an extensive, long, epic length love poem.
Right, you messed up big time. Hmm. Well, I am certain when the good sister finally makes her way to my doorstep, she will inform me as to what you did to deserve this. Hmm.
But it's a really, really good epic poem on par with
Oh,
Omar Khayyam. I mean,
I am most definitely certain that it is a thing of beauty, but
yes,
through
it's
Bandabrus's eyes, this is you have done something terribly wrong, and this is the way that you are making things good with your life.
very good. It's not, it's sensual, not sexual. That is a very important
Mhm.
distinction.
With a big grid handed back to the archivist, you know, I am not certain as to what he did wrong, just that there what must have been some terrible slight, as the work is quite good and the dedication quite narrow. So enjoy one man's trial to get back in his wife's good graces.
And you, sir, do you have any woman or wife to get in the good graces of?
His countenance immediately darkens. I find my pursuits do not afford me certain things.
Hmm. One must remember to always leave space for one's more, well, wouldn't want to become too trapped in the mind, now would we? That leads to, chromatic dragons and volcanic eruptions.
Trust me, I have plenty of other pursuits, but there are things from my past that I do not need hounding anyone but me.
Well, appreciate that. By the way, you might find this interesting. And she slides a very slim, thin book in front of you. Um,
What is this? As he flips it open.
work that I think my father would have appreciated you reading. You always had a fondness for wizards who said no, badly, with force.
There's oftentimes when one is in pursuit of the greater mysteries that one loses perspective. Just because one can doesn't mean one should try.
Very true.
Now, begin like again flipping through, seeing if I this is a person I know or if this is an entirely new individual. Thank you so much, Hon.
Thank you, Hawkeye, for that. Um, the two things happen. She walks away. You're left alone in front of this large picture window, glass table in front of you. Um, you don't need to roll for it. There's a vibration in your pocket. Well, I should ask a question. What is Bandabrus's most dearest possession?
I do not call them a possession. They are more a partner.
Ah,
And the Golden Lady is a comb. One that is has very strong opinions of very many things.
very
Um,
strong opinions.
and she is a regular companion, unless I'm going to Cortel, in which case I get an earful, mindful, and a guiltful upon my leaving and return. Um, but yes, otherwise is a constant companion and a very good friend.
The Golden Lady, your book, your friend, your companion, is vibrating in your. Where do you carry her? I mean, she's not a large book. You know.
Um, there is Bandabrus has um, a series of rope belts that go across his waist. Three of them, because there is much that one wizard needs to carry, and pockets have a nasty habit of being pilfered from. Um, whereas if someone tries to tug upon the rope, they tend to feel it more, um, or have other signs. And as such, there is a large, again, some of the stuff, folks, there's period handiwork that's amazing. And they had sewn pockets, which were all like beautifully embroidered. And in the apron pocket that's tied to the lowest of the belts is where she sits, right there in front, in case she needs to do something or in case I need to retrieve her quickly. She stays right there.
The book is vibrating in anticipation. You can sense it.
Take her out, set her down on the table. I don't know what it is that you're so excited about, but sure.
And oddly enough, she doesn't respond.
Oh, this is supposed to be a surprise for me. Continues reading.
You have. Could you roll me an arcana, please?
Certainly. 26.
Very good. Um, the book is magical
Hmm.
that you're reading. Um, it's a slim tone gray leather on the outside. What looks like it was originally silver giltwork in the etching, but has been kind of worn in places. Um, the name, um, just on the cover, is just Lex Arcanum.
Laws. All right.
Well, technically, Lex. Yes. Lex Archon. Lex Archon. Well, no, it would be Lex Arcanum. Lex Arcanum would work. Sorry. I'm having this moment of nerdy Latin grammarian in my head.
Who's pooping through this slim, what feels like a treatise.
It is. As you flip through, you realize that it is old. There's a weight to the magic that's here. Um, it almost weighs that same kind of weight of the magic as when you interact with your golden lady. Might even, based on that 26, give you that same kind of feel in the magic, that same age of magic. Magic that is older than this continent. Well, a good many of the books in this library are, but this one seems unique.
It's an old friend of ours.
You just get the positive feeling.
I hope that I can live up to them.
There is a dedication in the front of the book. And you read all languages?
I can, in a pinch.
And you're an academic, are you not?
Yes, I am a sage.
I would say roll history, because this is just going to tell me how long it takes you. Because there really isn't a language skill in this game. Oh,
30.
30. Oh, yeah. It will take you a little bit of time to kind of shift your mind because you realize it's actually written in the vernacular of the old empire. So, all of the common dialects in various languages of Endios are derived from this original lingua franca. But it's like going from reading English to Middle English or Old English. You have to take a minute to set your mind. And the dedication in the front is to Orenzi with faith and belief. Orentzi. Love always. Mesanza. Mesantza.
I have a feeling you have a good understanding of those names. That's in sense.
This book, you don't, with that previous 26 arcana, you're pretty sure is not sentient. But it is magical in a way. The information as you start to read through, it's a master's treatise on abjuration magic from the old empire. And a discussion of how interplanar wards could be in effect. How one could establish and then reinforce interplanar wards to prevent things from happening.
This is. Why is this just sitting here? He cannot belong here. He belong in the hands of someone who can make this happen.
It's like archivist gave it.
It's not the work that I could finish. This is take far longer than I have.
Does it though?
Yes, because this is a life work. It's not enough to just put them down. Have to educate others on how to maintain, build upon, and care. Something like this.
There's a slip of paper about 2/3 of the way through, like somebody tucked it in there and forgotten it. Not like it was intentionally put there like a bookmark. You know how there's
Okay.
there's a differentiation?
Yes. Oh yes.
It's worn, it's old. It's probably only survived because it was stuck. And, well, the preservation's involved with moving the entire, well, as much of the library that existed for the constellation to Yaraba was working. And the preservation magics involved were complex.
What does it say?
Merely lists 3 names that you are familiar.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you're familiar with them because you banished them. By the way, they were numbers 7, 9, and 13.
All right.
And the name for number 13 is underlined twice. And as you're studying through this book, this gift given to you by the archivist, can you roll me a perception check?
I would like to spend a luck.
You have 4 of them.
Well, I also have my own. But
This is true.
I will spend one of those gifts. 20 is better than 13.
20 is better than 13. Significantly better than 13. And it's this moment of, like, as you're looking and perusing this list of names and looking up, you just kind of feel this motion on your side. And you see a small hand kind of creep up on the table next to you and just slowly start sliding your golden lady across the table.
Do not presume an old man's ignorance.
Just want to read the book. It's shiny.
She is very shy.
Mm-hmm. And loud.
She can be. But I do not think she is here for you yet.
No. She says you're nice.
I try. What is your name?
Araka.
How old are you, Araka?
57. She looks to be about 6.
If I am still around in 20 years, come and find me.
Yeah, I want to learn
And
from you. You're cool.
thank you.
You didn't
But no,
shove your off a cliff.
I have been tempted, but no. No, if I'm still around in 20 years, come and find me and we will read her together.
Okay. She says we're going to do that.
I sincerely hope so.
Also, you should eat something.
I had oatmeal.
Papa says you need both proteins and carbs, and you just see, like, trying to remember the very complex multi-syllable word. Veg, all the veggies.
Vegetables are very important.
Yes.
And I I tend to have those. That's an afternoon meal. In truth, the protein that you need is only about the size of a deck of cards.
Mm, but it's afternoon.
I am beginning to understand just how time works in this place, and then it changes me.
No, it's time for lunch. You should eat something. She says so. And she's smart.
Smartest I know. I guess I should.
She also says you're smart.
I can't be.
Okay, you have a sandwich. You want mine?
No, thank you. I will go and find my own son.
Okay, bye bye. And they just kind of like pull themselves down underneath the table where they were like leaning and then scurry away through the stacks.
Um, I will turn to head out, taking both books. I will make a note to find the donation box.
Mm-hmm.
I am putting 2 gold in there.
Oh, very high donation. Thank you very much. We appreciate your donation to the continued running of the archive and uh facilities of the city of Uraba.
And it was,
Don't forget to take your tax write-off voucher.
I were if I was a citizen. Um, and I also make a note on like the suggestion box. Keep patronizing Araka.
What
They
was that?
will keep patronizing Araka. They're going to be very important one day. Just put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then head out and find a sandwich, apparently. That's what's in the menu today.
Look, small child says you need a sandwich. I cannot control what small elven child thinks. Actually, I can. I'm the GM, but I'm not.
So
Where do
you want
you
to
go for lunch?
I think there is, as is Bandabrus's wont, there is a nice cafe towards the edge of town. And now seems like an excellent time to go and patronize it, have um, a tea and a hot sandwich and sit down in the shade and breeze and have something to eat.
Rabona, the owner of this particular cafe, um, she is a half orc, half elf. Um, she stands a dignified 5'7", and is well known for the particular, well, pastries that she uses for race. Um, Custards filled with various flavors. And you can just see in her like long black hair that's pulled back in a very practical braid. Um, and her skin tone is a slightly grayer tinge of green, much closer to gray than actually olive. Um, More indicative of someone who has both elven and orc blood. That dilution, perhaps. And the minute you walk in, there is a tray floating next to you of tea and pastries. And she just kind of looks at you and goes, "It's 2 o'clock."
I was reading.
Mm. I'll get you some soup and something.
Thank you.
What else do you want?
Araka suggested I have a sandwich.
Heavy protein it is. You know that she is a seer, right?
No, but I want to thank you.
Mm. We are mildly prepared for her to be an actual well, either a cleric or divination wizard. It would be very entertaining. Or very chaotic.
Whatever she will be important.
And she kind of gestures to your usual table. Where where does Bandabrus usually sit in this cafe? It's open, has a couple big bay windows that look out onto the water.
Uh, he is there at like one of the windows, like one of the tables that is like just inside but centered,
Mm-hmm.
looking straight out that window, and that's where he usually sits.
The tray with the pot of tea and a couple pastries settles on the table in front of you. A few moments later, there's another floating tray that comes to you with a bowl of soup, a very nice minestrone, of
Mm,
vegetables and um, pasta, and then a very thick cut in what we in certain circles of the United States and certain ethnic communities might call a sandwich, not a sandwich, because it stands about, yay high. Layered very nicely with smoked meats and a couple cheeses. A nice, you can smell the basil and from the pesto that's on there.
and he he eats everything that could be messy first.
Sandwich.
Yeah, and then can ultimately useful spell cleans himself up. Uh,
Hashtag there's prestidigitation for that.
yeah, it solves so many problems. It's like the one spell I wish I had in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the tea, relaxes and pulls out the treatise again and continues reading.
Go ahead and roll a history.
17.
Very good. You are familiar. I mean, you are a wizard of abjuration magic yourself. Would you say that you're a master of the abjuration arts?
Do I have the capacity? Yes. Have I had the practice of a master? That's debatable.
Who are you measuring yourself against?
I am measuring myself against my own expectations.
Oh, always the harshest of measures. But you see, as you read through, that this master treatise is intriguing for its both its complexity, but it's also simplicity. It's foundational work in a sense that this would be this in practice could be easily taught to a number of lower level abjuration wizards to facilitate a larger working, like a large ritual working.
It should be the network of teleportation circles that aren't complete, but should be, yes.
Yes, kind of that thing.
Right.
And the simplicity and but its discussion of those theories is extremely advanced. It's again a master treatise. How much time are you going to spend studying this book?
I think I could get away with 2 hours.
Cool. Roll me an arcana, please, as you read through this book for another 2 hours.
I'm gonna spend a luck. That was rather low.
All right, yours are the gift kindness of chat.
Yeah, thank you, Trent. 26.
There we go. That's a lot better. Rolled a 5 the first time.
Yes, as I said, it was rather low.
With a 26, at the end of these 2 hours, I will tell you, mechanically speaking, you are now going to have the ability to choose at your discretion to add a +2 to any 3 abjuration castings of your choice.
Where they should go.
Not the spells, the castings of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 instances.
Yeah, I know where they should go. On the border.
Oh, which border?
Over there.
And
the room.
A couple hours in, Rabona walks up to you and just like leaves a couple letters next to you, and then refills the teapot and then walks away.
Thank you so much.
There are a couple other people around, a couple other elven people around working. Again, it's a working coffee shop. This is the kind of place where you don't necessarily go to socialize.
I would think that's you social. If you're here in the afternoon, you're not here to socialize. That's the morning crowd.
Yes, and usually ends by about 9 o'clock.
Yes.
If you're there after 9 o'clock, you are part of the crowd that are consistently working and might possibly take a break for lunch socialization, which is might. There might be 2 people who sit next to each other regularly who might greet each other.
They're gone by 1. Oh. They're part of that earlier crowd that, for some bad reason, show up at 11. Um,
Um, but most people who are staying here are don't not talking. It's or so she is. Rabona is very good at working this room and making sure that everyone has what they need.
take a pause from my musings and workings and look over the papers. It's like, okay, so what all is this?
Well, the first is a letter from your dear, dear, very dear friend, um, Old Blackthorn.
What it does he who I think thinks me a pet want?
He's inviting you to poker night.
Of course he is.
Mm-hmm. And he states that he has convinced a number of members of the monastery of the Lagunak to come and join. He might even get Azariel herself. It'll be a party. You should come.
Man just enjoys seeing me sweat. Um, Not that I'm going to say no, but that's a future me problem. Uh,
Chris's comment, he wants to take you for all you're worth.
you can with what a thought. Uh, what's the next in the missives?
Um, the next one underneath that is from Yura's mother.
What does the poor suffering woman want?
Thank you for in sending her son home and not letting him break his neck, jumping off of your cliffs and surfing. Parasailing and surfing. The general surfing, she's not as concerned about. The jumping off the cliff bit was mildly upsetting.
Yeah, yes, it is.
She's also included a 50 gold in this small. Excuse me. No, it would be 5 platinum.
I will make certain that most of that gets spent on her son.
She's paying you, not her son, but whatever.
The woman suffers enough and has seemed to entrust me with her, to my knowledge, only son. I am going to take care of him as best I can.
Also true. And then a short note from Yura himself, requesting permission to attend the performance that will be occurring tonight of Voral the Protector's new work. It'll be an interpretive reading.
Who's doing the interpreting?
A very dear friend of Yura's.
Oh no.
And her lass. Well, he's doing the staging. Grantaire is doing the interpreting.
It will be a butchery, but sure. Those two do not know an ounce about love. They know a good deal about lust and quote unquote passion, but they know nothing of love. Go. Have a wonderful time watching what you will, in 50 years, regret that you ever wasted the night on.
Maybe not.
I will. That is a very. That is just ascending, like just go, have fun, be safe, go home afterwards to your parents. Do not stay out late with the actors, please.
A response of, okay, and followed immediately by, won't stay out late with the actors.
elves, almost as tiresome as devils.
Interesting point. But another couple hours pass in your quiet and like world in this cafe. A couple people that you see regularly like nod and wave to you as they leave.
I'll try and catch one of them.
Mm-hmm. Anyone in
Hey,
particular?
Uh, no, I'm just again as his mind wanders back to this morning. Uh, excuse me. Again, I'm still adjusting to the time. Is there something special going on today?
There was a vote this morning. Everyone
No,
attended.
that's what
Yes.
nothing dire, I hope.
No, no, no. The Baragala has been sending information. There was some concern about your school.
What do the fools do now?
Oh no. Well, here, and he hands you like a leaflet.
Mm-hmm.
Because Uraba is a direct democracy, and they need to have everyone who's a voting citizen vote. They print a lot of these leaflets. And to provide information about votes. There, it's proposal number 50,020, whatever. Um, Concerning the matter brought forward by the Young Academics for Integration,
Ah,
requesting a more formal delegation be sent to the the Academy of Arcane Lore at Vasava to begin teaching there and showcasing the abilities and integrating human wizards with the great academics and society of Uraba. Oh, it didn't pass, don't worry.
soon as those young, impressionable individuals got there, they'll be exploded. For every ounce of knowledge they have, they're being misplaced.
That's why we try and say no. But they will do what they wish.
What they wish we may all live to regret.
Hopefully, a few people might be able to discourage them. I heard that perhaps Old Blackthorn might be making a presentation at the school. I'm
So I have
almost.
to go to poker night then.
Oh, no, no, no. Poker night would be always. You turn down his.
I, I have yet to turn down an invitation from old Blackthorn, but I believe he views me more like a puppy than a person.
Use everyone that. Not personal.
Good to know. Um, but yes, no, apparently to show up for the next one.
Yeah, go to poker night. And,
Okay.
well, I heard things.
Okay. I will make certain that I attend. I'm just
Honestly, he thinks anyone who is born on this continent is a puppy. He thinks
uh,
most people who were born on the other continents are children too, so.
fair enough, but again, I can say this for my people. They do not appreciate the danger in most cases when it comes to magics that can get out of hand. There is There is a pride that runs through the Empire that is not healthy.
Well, at least you recognize it. Perhaps there are others who do as well.
There are others, but they are the minority.
Uh, I am home to dinner. Are you staying here?
No, I should probably go retrieve supplies and then retire myself, as well as make certain missives get to certain places.
Well, have a good night.
You tr-
And he kind of like nods and walks off into around the ring. Where do you head?
I go to see my favorite cheesemonger. They're my favorite because they don't close until 7. Um,
They also make the best cheese in the city. Just don't knock them just because they stay open late.
I I appreciate their time of opening as someone who struggles with that 6 a.m. thing that they like to do here. Um, so I go and I am going to grab a good amount of cheese for to refill the stores, and then make my way home to write to Blackthorn saying that I will be in the 2 minutes, and then probably write a 2 messages, one to be sent to Cortel, one to be sent to Maroon.
Ooh, who is it going to in Cortel?
As much as I hate doing this, it is going to be sent to Ian.
Ooh, letter to Lord Iago himself.
Yes. Warning him of few things that they go. One, Faroon becoming more saber rattling along Roviger's border,
Hmm.
and that Uraba has concerns over the academy, and that there is a youthful contingent that seeks to educate the room's arcane studies and is foolish enough to try and do that without the precautions that their elders would like to see them do. So, if there is anything within his political views that he could gently use to dissuade the youth of Uraba from pursuing those goals, it would be greatly appreciated by an old wizard.
All right. And where's the other one?
To my favorite enchantress.
Oh, to your favorite enchantress, really?
Yes.
Who is your favorite enchantress?
Well, she just so happens to be the dean of enchantment at the academy.
Yes, she does. Where is she? There she is, Yelena.
Yelena is very dear.
Yelena is not. Is Yelena in the public dock?
I don't know.
Yelena is not in the public dock, but she will be in a minute.
She also gives me a little bit of what's going on.
Hmm. There you are. Yelena. Doesn't usually use a title. Beyond Dean. She likes her academic titles.
I know, but I don't think she will begrudge me some of my favorites.
No.
Uh, Again, to my favorite enchantress. Um, there, there is some unsettling news that I find myself hearing all the way down here in Europe. One, that the Empire is not content with the holdings it has and has eyes on the that it would continue to abandon a duchy that they could be holding and land that they could be expanding, but instead covets their neighbors. And that there is a well-meaning, youthful, and ignorant contingent here in Uraba that seeks to better, heavy quotation marks, educate those studying the arcane of the room. We both know the headmaster would eat them alive and exploit them for every ounce of information they have, which would be a compromise that I don't think the Empire could afford. I tell you this not because I'm expecting you to necessarily go your way to do anything, but you need to be informed. Keep yourself and those you care about safe. Shall do my best as always on my studies here. Sincerely yours, Bandabrus.
Very good. What does Bandabrus end the night? The day, I should say.
Ending the day is going up to the observatory on the tower and enjoying the sunset and the outset of the stars, the salt air and the sound of the ocean. Munching on a plate of cheese and fruit.
The fruit is very important.
Yes, and we got oranges in from Sekele, so yes.
Yes, it's a very important thing. Talking a thing. Oh. There is a knock on the door of your external door of your tower. As your
Coming! And dimension door.
the door you dimension door down, is that it?
Yeah.
Don't take the stairs.
No. Take too long.
Take too long. Oh. Oh, I see how it is. I see how it is. You open the door. There's just a young person in a uniform that looks like they might belong to one of the temples in town. Like Master Bandabrus.
Yes, I am he.
Then delivery came. Good night, and they turn around and walk away.
Wait.
Hmm?
Give them a copper crown and send them on their way.
Okay. They kind of look at it as like, okay, and shoves it in their pocket and keep going.
Why does the temple want something that
You pick it up and it's thick and heavy, very fancy vellum, folded in on itself, intricately in calligraphied, directed to Master Bandabrus the Grey, Dean of Abjuration of the Academy of Arcane Arts, the University of in the Imperial City of Visava, of the whole of the Empire of Varum, and under his guidance of the Supreme Emperor Sarkanian Mackinnon.
immediately drops the package. Don't like you. Just pointing to it.
You get the subtle sense in the back of your mind from the Golden Lady of agreement. I don't like them either.
Spin the spell slot for Unseen Servant. Pick up. And then we walk back up the stairs.
You walk up the stairs, but not down
Yeah.
them? I think
No.
the up is always more difficult on the knees.
That may be true, but I don't have someone waiting on me.
Oh, this is fair.
And there isn't enough metal around here to make a pole long enough and sturdy enough, not light. And goes to his library, sits down, has the Unseen Servant place the package on the table. And Chris, no, I watched a lot of Ghostbusters growing up. And we will cut into this and see what evil comes pouring out.
The seal on the back is heavy, and you immediately recognize one from the Imperial Palace of the office of the Imperial family.
Are they finally sacking me? One can hope. Hold on. So we unseal this thing and we will pull out with care. This again. I do not put it past members of the Imperial family to try and assassinate me by letter.
So are you investigating this, or
We're going to put up. I will take the minute to cast Identify on this. To see if
okay?
there is any magic.
What does it look like when you cast Identify?
Bringing up the necklace, touching it, there is a good bit of muttering, and some rhythmic rocking back and forth, and then the eyes just go wide and blue, and then gazes forth with those eyes, seeing what there is to see, hearing what there is to hear.
Absolutely nothing is magical on this letter whatsoever.
They've missed an excellent opportunity. They're getting slow in their old age. So, what do you actually say? What does the Empire want with its least favorite son?
Master Bandabrus the Grey, Dean of Arcane Knowledge, etc., 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 you are hereby formally invited to the coronation of His Royal Imperial Highness Alexander Mackinnon, and on his ascension to the throne of the Empire of Varum. We look forward to your attendance and have arranged appropriate quarters for you within the palace complex.
There is a terrible cry out that goes across the ocean. Darius!
Interesting. Is it magical or just loudly shouted?
It is just very loudly shouted.
You don't get an answer.
Come on, I would figure I would hear you snickering in the shadows somewhere by now.
No answer. And I'm assuming because it hasn't been 10 minutes, you still have Identify up, and therefore there is no magical. If you look around, nothing is magical beyond what would normally be magical in your.
Oh no, I know where you are. I know precisely where you are. You are safe from me right now. Because I do not put it past you to take her to that particular reading of the Protector's work. A place I would never deign to go unless it was an absolute emergency.
Is it an absolute emergency?
No. Enjoy your companionship and art. If one can even call it that.
Is Bandabrus convinced that this is a joke? Is that it?
No. But
Oh.
he is convinced that Darius knew before he received this,
No. And then didn't warn you.
did not warn him. Because if I've been invited, they've been invited.
Mhm.
All of them have most likely been invited. Because that is the only way they would invite me. And that was the only way they would get me to go, is if they were going. I would not go on my lonesome. I'm far too convinced that there are members within the royal court, let alone the very halls of academia, that would love to see me dead. And so if they wanted my attendance, the only way is if the other four were attending.
None of the other four have made a comment to you about receiving an invitation.
Yet.
Might not also have not received their invitation yet.
I am certain that most of them have already received their invitations, and they were waiting for Darius to inform me. Of which he wanted me to sweat. And instead of cackling at my misfortune, he went to the one place we both know in all of the cosmos at this point in time, I would not deign to go.
You'd avoid the 9 hells more than you would avoid going to an autistic reading.
I would go more likely to the 9 hells than go to that artistic reading.
Hmm. I mean, the last performance the Grand Terror had was well received and had great reviews. It was actually rather well done.
Yes, there was a full drink minimum.
It did not negate his performance as a, well, very emotional reading of an Iliad.
Yes, but some say that the alcohol enhances one's memory of that artistic rendition.
That's fair. So that is where we're going to leave Bandabrus, however. Frustrated, upset, angered, and invited to a coronation. But I do have a question for Bandabrus.
Mm-hmm.
Bandabrus, you are one of the few involved in this particular event that are still nominally very tied to the courts of Varum. How does Bandabrus feel about not receiving a usually correlating piece of information that would go with that invitation?
The notification of the Emperor's passing.
Hmm.
That very much stands out. That's that is something that causes a great deal of dread. Because that should have been known by others here locally before I even knew, before I even received this message. If he is dead, people should know that he is dead. And from everything that I've seen, they don't. And if he is not passed, what has incapacitated in such fashion that would require his son to ascend? That is a question that is very troubling.
We will find out on Saturday. As well, maybe we won't. It all depends on how things go on Saturday. But on Saturday, as we leave here, Bandabrus alone in his tower, upset, contemplating attending this coronation, which is in a month. But you have plenty of time to get there. You have teleportation. Um, for you going the 7,000 miles between Visava and Uraba,
I could do it now, but I don't want to.
of course not. But yes, on Saturday we get to finally have the whole cast together. For the first group session, everybody attending the coronation of Crown Prince Alexander Mackinnon. I have been your friendly neighborhood Prax. Thank you for hanging out on the channel, and now I'm going to turn it over to Pope so he can do his spiel and all of the good things.
Hey everybody, Pope here, Pope Will on Twitter, Pope Will on Twitch. I look in all your streams if you want to see more of my ridiculous face, get a number of opportunities. Coming up next is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern over on Balboa 1911. Something completely different as we're playing Brinkwood, the Blood of Tyrants. Our Fae-enabled brigands have a lot on their plates. They have rebels to spring from a basement dungeon of a vampire who's currently down there. Arson has already been committed, and we're on the clock. Vampires are very scary in this system, so come see the misfortune that is inevitable with such a game. As we die or we go mad trying. And then Wednesday, knock on wood, be back here for some Zweihander, one of the treats, where you get to see these two cantankerous dwarves drive everyone else a little mad as our strong opinions about deities give our priestess of Sigmar some consternation.
Look, I'm just gonna say that Nethra is right. 2 for 2, shoot them in the face and light them on fire. Holy people, what you do. Except for Gisela, she's cool.
Not every holy person deserves to be shot in the face. Just many of them. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And then definitely be back here Saturday to meet the rest of this amazing crew for what's going to be one hell of a party. And yeah, definitely keep an eye on the Twitters, as there may be other things getting announced sooner than later. So let's all keep our fingers crossed for that. And yeah, no, this was absolutely fabulous. I've been looking forward to getting a reason to use this hat, and now I have it. And this was absolutely delightful. Thank you so much, Prax, and thank all of you for being here for our live vlog YouTube. A story is nothing without its audience. You're much part of this as we are. And if you got this far on the YouTube, because we do check the YouTube comments, I have a feeling this hashtag is going to be reused many times. Hashtag just Darius all caps with an exclamation mark. As I am certain that mischievous druid is going to cause some people much delight in Bandabrus a lot of yelling. Much yelling.
I just realized something. Darius and Han and Chewie are going to be in the same place.
I hate this already.
No, you don't. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this.
That can't be good.
But thank you for being here, Pope. Usually we would have a second introduction, but unfortunately Hannah's not feeling well tonight, so we are not going to have our Hannah tonight. Um, as for me, you know me, I'm your friendly neighborhood Prax, at Dear Jonathan on Twitter, or Praxagorth as Meaphorias, see me around here on Twitch. We will be back here Wednesday night for Zweihander as the atheists dwarfs. Or just the fuck you religion dwarfs.
If the gods are so powerful, they should do more.
There's that. Yep. And then Hannah and we'll be doing a Hannah solo session introduction, probably Tuesday during the day. I'll be announcing that, so stay on my Twitter because it'll be probably like an afternoon, um, Eastern. But pay attention, I'll post that. And then we'll be back here Saturday for session 1, for the group session 1, and I cannot wait to see all of these people, all of these very complex different characters get to interact in a way that will be absolutely glorious. And I can't wait to see you all 8 p.m. Eastern, hear the drama as we begin a new verse in a song of Agapia's fortune. But until then, pay attention to my Twitter because I was post where I'm going to be and the fun, wonderful, fabulous folks I get to hang out with and I get to play with and I get to do things with. But yeah, because there's a thing that I can't talk about yet, but might be soon be able to talk about. Just, I want to talk about it, but I can't because it hasn't been officially announced yet. Wait, is that a... Okay. I thought that was a thing I could say. All right, no. But we should go raid somebody, and I feel like sending some love to Tanya. Tanya's playing Cult of the Lamb. We're gonna go send some love to Tanya and just we'll send some love. But until next time, everybody, bye bye.